Welcome to the Love Clarity Podcast, where you come to heal your relationship trauma and learn to love deeply without losing yourself. Love isn't supposed to break you, but if you keep finding yourself in the same painful relationship with narcissists, people who are cheating on you, emotionally unavailable partners, there's a reason, and today we're going to uncover it. I'm Sanya Bari, and today we're talking about why you keep attracting the same toxic relationships and how to stop. So why does this toxic pattern that you do not want keep happening? How does it happen on your watch? It's not like you want it. In fact, you are doing everything not to have that in your life. So why does this keep repeating? What happens is that your brain mistakenly thinks what is familiar is safe. It's almost like you can call it like a familiarity trap. In your past relationships, in your childhood relationships, in your childhood experiences of watching relationships or being in one, if you have seen emotional neglect, chaos, betrayal, drama, constant fighting, constant up and down, then your system seeks it out. It seeks out the same. It seeks out the same energy because it feels normal. It is your normal. And the idea is that unless you begin to see this normal as the toxicity that it produces, you're not going to really be able to change anything. It'll just keep on looping you in. So it's almost as if like Netflix has this genre that it keeps selecting depending on what you keep giving the most attention to. Whichever genre you give the most attention to, whichever you keep selecting, that's the one that it's going to keep suggesting for you. Just because your subconscious is making those recommendations of that same genre, maybe because you've been selecting it, maybe because that was familiar, doesn't mean you have to take it. There can be an end to this cycle of attraction. If your nervous system is consistently giving you wiring that is more aligned with the survival mode, you're going to keep choosing partners who are going to make you have the need to survive. The survival mode is going to keep reinforcing partners that are going to want you to do things that you must survive then. So your patterns aren't proof that something's wrong with you. They're just proof that your subconscious is still running on an old program, a program that you don't like anymore. It's not about whether the program is good or bad compared to something else. What it really is about is that the program is not aligned to what you want. It's about, I don't want this. Now, here's the good news. The good news is that all of these programmings, all of these behaviors, they are learned behaviors. They are learned programmings, which means they can be unlearned and they can replace something that we choose. Instead of submitting to what was given to us when we never had the choice or didn't know we had the choice, instead of repeating that, we can rewrite them. We can choose what we want. So let's talk about how to break this cycle. I've got a 3-step shift for you. What I want you to understand as you come into this 3-step shift is that attraction is a pattern. So to change it, who you attract, you have to change what your system is drawn to. Okay, let's talk about how to break this cycle. As we come into talking about breaking the cycle, and as I start to give you these 3 steps for this shift that I have for you, I want you to understand that attraction is a pattern. So to change who you attract, you have to change what your system is drawn to. It's almost like you are changing your settings on what you consider things that you want versus things that you don't want. The clearer you are about this, about what you want, and the more aligned you can remain, the better this is going to be. So let's talk about these 3 steps. What are they? 3 steps to rewriting your attraction pattern, your attraction settings. First one, pause. First one is going to be the pause. It may sound like, what? Can we just get to the real point? Pause is the beginning of all the real points. If you fail to pause, you never give yourself a chance to move, to shift from that survival loop into something else. It's just going to keep running on a default. Now, if you want to create a new default, a default from surviving to thriving, you're going to have to do this one thing, which is pause. So before falling for the pull, just pause. That instant spark, that I feel like I've known you forever feeling, that's a red flag. If your past relationships have been toxic, instead of diving in, ask yourself, is this attraction or is this just my trauma being activated? So the first one is pause. Let's move to the second one, which is check. Check for safety, not intensity. Check in with yourself. Take consent from yourself. Regard yourself enough that you pause to check in with yourself. Healthy love is not a roller coaster. It's steady. That's a really good direction. Just remember, if it feels like a roller coaster, up and down, being thrown around, being pushed and pulled, it's not healthy. If you're used to love that's chaotic or unpredictable, remember that stability is going to feel boring in the beginning, but you can shift your focus if you want to. You can ask yourself, does this person make me feel calm? Do they make me feel respected? Do they make me feel emotionally safe? And if that's not happening, that's not your person. You can choose differently. That's the third step. Choose differently, one moment at a time. The old pattern will tempt you. It'll be like a little temptress. Yeah, just come to me. And you're going to feel drawn to that familiar pull because it is familiar and it might even feel comfortable. Who cares? Because this time you have a plan. You're going to notice it. You're going to be like, I'm going to choose a different experience. Thank you and no. See the notification coming up like, yeah, let's go for it. And just swipe it off of the screen of your consciousness. Thank you and no. Look, love isn't just what you feel. It's what you allow. There has to be a gatekeeping mechanism where you ask your consent. You don't just let everything come through because you are precious. Your energy is precious. This is the way to honor yourself, including honoring the parts of you that previously got hurt. So remember this. Breaking this pattern doesn't happen overnight, but the moment you start questioning it, you're already changing it. Listen, healing isn't just possible, it's your birthright. And love doesn't have to hurt. If this episode hit home, don't just sit with it. Share it with someone who needs it. And hey, if you're ready to take your healing deeper, hit that subscribe button. Let's make this moment the moment you stop settling for pain and start choosing the love you actually deserve. I'll see you next time. You got this.